Welcome to the Dungeon of Dracarys Stadium in Washington, D.C., where tonight it's the D.C. Dragons against the Baltimore Vultures. 5-5 versus 7-3. Massive playoff implications as the Dragons try to stay in the legitimate, realistic playoff hunt. Wow, Baltimore is at 7-3 and hoping that they can continue to keep pace with some of the top teams in the league and put themselves in the conversation of championship contending teams. Alongside Charles Doherty, I'm Cameron Irvine, Justin Resides, Stephen Hacker is in our stat truck, and Haynes Vision is here as well. Chris Curtis, Tyler Falk back in studio. Our full crew is here tonight for this big rivalry game. Charles, what is your takeaway in this matchup?
Well, I mean, it's pretty much a home game for both teams. I mean, Baltimore is literally like a 20-minute drive up I-95, so not sure if a home team advantage is that much at stake here, but DC's got a lot of pressure. I mean, they're going up against a solid squad in Baltimore. Their offense for Baltimore leading almost every statistical category. DC's got they're a little shorthanded on the offensive roster, but everyone on that offensive roster is going to need to excel tonight in order to win this game.
We are all teed up and ready to go. Kick it. We are underway from DC. The Dragons will get the opening kickoff as that kick from Shark Tarkington is deep out of the end zone. Shabazz Synergy has had a season, for the most part, to forget. QBR of just 63. That's bottom tier of the league. Lauren Percoco's been sensational, but the Dragons have struggled getting a lot of people involved.
Last two games, though, he's been over 100, so maybe we'll see a little bit better tonight from him.
They'll start with Kevin Say as they'll try to get the run game going, and that's a good start for DC. It's a 7-yard pickup to set up a 2nd down and 3. The DC Dragons offense features Kevin Say and Synergy in the backfield now for 8 straight seasons. Sam Harrison and Chuck Steller also in the backfield. Wide receivers are Mason Kirby and Josh Gill, a light crew. Jay Hayden and Lauren Percoco at tight end. We'll get to the line in a moment. The handoff goes to Sam Harrison right up the gut, who has been playing awesome ball lately as he continues his development, and the 202 hit squad have a 1st down.
Yeah, on the offense side for DC, run, the focal point's going to be Kevin Say. Pass, it's going to be Percoco. So if I were the defense for the Vultures, I'd have Vaught up close to the line for the run, and maybe Warfield or Stacking Paper just blanketing Percoco.
Draw to Say. This time the defensive line gets some push for Baltimore, but let's go back to that Dragon offensive line that includes Robert Crone, James Judah, Michael Percoco, Quinn Zook, and Ezekiel Rubin. Percoco, the most experienced of the bunch, a 2-time All-Star in his 9th SFL season. 2nd down and 8. The handoff up the middle goes to Steller, and he'll get 1, so we'll get to see Synergy for the first time tonight on a 3rd down and 7.
Yeah, and as I said previously, overall his rating for the season's been pretty low, but he's been on the upswing, versus Denver Week 11 in Arizona. No interceptions, 2 touchdowns, over 100 rating both games.
Shabazz Synergy going to take off and run. He's got the 1st down. And DC back-to-back 1st downs here to start the ball game.
Yeah, he's a sneaky little runner. I mean, he's not built, like your prototypical mobile quarterbacks. But man, when he gets the ball, he normally gets a very positive gain.
Baltimore's in the red tonight. DC in their black to gray uniforms with the white numbers and the blue trim. After 2 1st downs, it's 1st and 10 with under 8 to play in the 1st quarter. Just getting started here from Dungeon of Dracarys. That's Kevin Say with nothing. Baltimore really starting to shut him down on 1st down. Giovanni Bolt on the tackle.
All of the safeties for the Vultures are, you can put any one of them up on the line in the slot to stop that run. I mean, it's very dangerous and tough to run on the outside against Baltimore.
Shabazz Synergy drops to throw on a 2nd down and 10. Fires down the field, caught by Josh Gill to the 31-yard line. 1st down for DC.
Josh Gill has got great hands. I mean, he doesn't get targeted a ton of times. Mostly, like I said, it's Percoco, but when he gets the ball in his direction, he has excellent hands and holds on to it.
Josh Gill's 13th catch this season. A very quiet season for him. Mason Kirby on the other side with 21 catches. Lauren Prococo with 63. The rest of the team combined has 46 catches. 1st and 10 at the Baltimore 31-yard line. DC moving pretty good as Kevin Say picks up 5 yards. And the Dragons mean business tonight.
Yeah, the offensive line so far for DC is is playing pretty stout, and they've done a really good job of keeping Synergy standing. I mean, 5th in sacks allowed, which is saying a lot.
2nd down and 5. Synergy will drop to throw, fire it to Prococo, breaks off a tackle, and is able to get the 1st down in the red zone. The Baltimore defense features Robert Brady, Al Walker, Ralph Leopold, and Nate Brown up front. Frank Smith and Alvin Mack at linebackers, a thin linebacking core. Cornerbacks, Ben Stackenpaper, Elijah Warfield, and Roy Towers. Your safeties, Sullivan Tyson, Young Vaught, Giovanni Bolton, John Patrick Levine for the Vultures. 6:08 to go in the first quarter. An opening drive for DC that's now spanned 60 yards on 9 plays. 4 minutes into the ball game, 4-down lineman for Baltimore. The handoff goes to Say. He'll bounce off a tackle and pick up 2. That's Warfield on the tackle, 2nd and 8.
Yeah, so far I'm liking the play calling by DC. They're not pushing it too deep downfield, taking their opportunities for that, but they're relying on a very sound running game so far. And as I said, the offensive line is doing a stout job of blocking.
The last 4 times these teams have played, the game has been decided by 6 points or less. That's Mason Kirby with a catch, 1st and goal. Synergy has started 3 for 3.
Now, we were talking about Josh Gill on his hands. I mean, Kirby right there, he's got all-pro ability to catch the ball. He also excels in route running as well. I mean, very crisp route runner. I'm surprised he doesn't have as many receptions or targets this season, because he's normally where he needs to be on every play.
Roy Towers on the tackle, and Synergy has hit 3 different receivers on his first 3 passes. Now out of the shotgun to pass on 1st and goal in the end zone. That is incomplete. Looking for a different receiver. That was Sam Harrison out of the backfield. Will bring up 2nd and goal.
The first time we saw a shotgun on this drive. I'm hoping they kind of get back to the run on this series. I know they're close to the goal line. A lot of teams like to throw here, but they've been running well so far, Cam.
They've kept Jack Wigmore on the sideline. He is 3rd in the league in pass attempts with 314. This has been a long opening drive. The handoff goes to Stellar, no gain. 3rd down and goal with 5 minutes and counting now.
As soon as I say that, Cam, what do? They run and get stuffed right at the line. What the heck do I know?
Baltimore, number 1 in the league in scoring offense, 32.6 points per game. A good strategy for the Dragons so far. They go 4 wide. Now they go 5 wide empty with Kevin Say. Shotgun. Wow, Say's going all the way to the bottom of the screen. 3-2 dime look for Baltimore. Synergy rolling to his right. Synergy fires back of the end zone. Pass is tipped up and incomplete. So Baltimore, after giving up all those yards, all that time, is going to end up forcing a field goal out of the Dragons offense.
Didn't get a complete look at the bottom of the screen, but as you said, it was overloaded at the bottom of the screen against that zone defense, and it looked like Say could have been wide open there on the sideline. He kind of did a route inbound, did a quick cut to the outside, and I didn't see any defender bite.
Synergy starts 3 for 3 on the drive. It goes 0 for his last 2. Caleb Richards comes on to kick the field goal. He is a perfect now 13 for 13 this season with a long of 47. A 15-play, 73-yard, 5.5-minute opening drive, but it ends in 3 points, and now Baltimore's offense will get the ball back.
I think it was a good drive, Cam. I mean, like you said, only 3 points, but they avoided I thought was going to be almost certain interception in the end zone there. So they kind of dodged the bullet there, but they're walking away with 3 at home. I think, so far so good.
DC kicks it deep, and this kick will be at the goal line, fielded by David Anderson. He'll return this past the 25 to the 28-yard line. So we mentioned at the SFL This Week show that Jack Wigmore, without the picks, putting together an MVP season. 1st in yards, 2,395. 1st in touchdowns with 15.
Again, like we said, for the Dragons, the offensive line for the Vultures are doing the same as far as protecting their quarterback. even a better rating in keeping the number of sacks against the Baltimore line. I mean, he's been standing up there. When you allow a guy like Wigmore to have time in the pocket, he's going to make you pay.
His number one target is Ivory Irvin, 5th in the league in receptions with 59. Wigmore will drop to throw to start the drive and does hit Irvin. Connects with him for a 6-yard pickup to set up a 2nd and 4.
They are 3-4 deep on the receiving side for Baltimore. Plus you factor in Matson at tight end. This secondary for DC is going to be tired by the end of the game.
4 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Handoff T-Roy Gaines, his first carry. They're going to mark him short. That might get reviewed. 3rd and 1 officially right now.
Yeah, it didn't look like a good mark at all, Cam. I mean, it looked like his shoulder and the ball were past the chains.
And no challenge, surprisingly, from Baltimore. That's interesting. Maybe they figure they can hold on to their timeouts and pick this 1 yard off the Dragons defense. Split backs in the backfield for Wigmore. He will hand it up right up the gut and no problem. Warren Murray gets that carry. So Murray and Gaines with carries early in the game. G.P. Wells is also in the backfield with Wigmore, who's in his 9th season. Ivory Irvin, David Anderson, Daley Holder, and Mac Chima are your wide receivers. A very talented group with 37 seasons of experience between them. Benji Matson and Jackson Roberts are at tight end. Gaines gets the carry for a gain of 1. Their line includes Sir Charles, Ray Arnold, Olivia Bleeker, Alden Bleeker, Jay Arnold, and Don Johnson up front. A lot of names on that line.
Can you say that again, please?
What, Don Johnson?
No, just... All right. That's messing with you, my friend.
Well, we have to clarify. 2nd down and 9 as that is Roberts going in motion at tight end for Wigmore. Wigmore, clean pocket, fires down the field, caught by Irvin at the DC 41-yard line, wrapped up by John DeSantis, his 2nd tackle, but a 1st down for Baltimore.
Yeah, they sent an extra defender or 2 in there to pressure the quarterback, but he was standing, firm in the pocket again. That offensive line, you got to do something to disrupt the pass block protection scheme for Baltimore.
2:20 to go in the first quarter. 3-0 DC on top. Both teams could score on their opening drives. Baltimore is just outside at Shark Tarkington's excellent field goal range. So Daley Holder goes in motion now with a nickel look out of the Dragons defense. From left to right, looks like Dragons are playing zone. Saeed Gore calling out the plays and then tried to tackle G.P. Wells, but gets discarded, a 4-yard pickup. DC's defense includes Kano Fortson, John Gary, and Mike Wagner on the line. The Defensive Player of the Year candidate, Jason Bourne, is inactive. Linebackers are Nick Fargo, Jason Strongbow, and Saeed Gore. Corners, Peanut Sage, Adubidu, and Darryl Bullock. And safeties are John DeSantis, Tyler Highfield, Josh Vasquez, and Kev Say Jr. Vasquez, 13th season, 2-time All-Star, leads the secondary. Wigmore, check down, dropped by Matson. Haven't seen much of that this season. Will bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, normally on those tight end swings, when you pass it to Matson, he's going to bring it in and make you pay for it. It looks like maybe the timing was off. It didn't look like he was bumped or anything, but it's early in the game. Just needs to get a little wind going there. And I think next time they throw it to him, he'll bring it in.
Matson is 144 yards away from 5,000 on his career. He's a top 30 target this season. Wigmore fires to Irvin, one-handed catch to the 20-yard line. That is a 1st down into the red zone.
You got to have a man on Irvin. I mean, it goes without saying, he's a beast. You got to bump him at the line and stay with him the entire, progression of the play. Otherwise, he's going to find that gap in the zone and make you pay for it.
Wigmore has 15 touchdowns this season. 6 have gone to Irvin, 3 to Chima, 3 to Matson. 1:08 to go in the first. Both teams taking a lot of time off the clock in their opening drive. Wigmore escapes to his left. The southpaw fires. It's incomplete. Looking down the field for Chima on his first target, and that once again is John DeSantis swatting it away.
It looks like the defense for DC is kind of sitting back on their heels and letting the game come to them, and I'm not sure that's necessarily the best thing to do, especially as you start getting deeper here in the end zone. I mean, they can pretty much run it from this point, I think, and get a 1st down unless they start putting some men there in the box.
Wigmore started 4 for 6 for 46 yards. He motions Gaines out. A lot of motion here on this opening drive for Baltimore. Wigmore, pressure by Wagner, and Daley Holder makes the grab for a 1st and goal at the 3-yard line. That was a difficult throw and an even better catch.
Yeah, he was getting hit and had to go over the top of the defender and grab that one-handed. That's an impressive catch there, Cam.
DeSantis
helmet is right in his rib cage.
Yeah, absolutely. DeSantis, third tackle. He's been all over Baltimore thus far. But if the Vultures get a touchdown here, it'll be touchdowns versus field goals early on in this one. 40 seconds left in the opening quarter. 5 down linemen for the Dragons. They are really tough up front. Dragons
Might
have
see a sneak here, Cam. Might see a sneak, just saying.
Oh, you got it. Wigmore got the touchdown. Charles is money again, just like he was last week. Baltimore gets the score on an opening 11-play, 74-yard drive thanks to Wigmore's sneak.
That was perfect time. We talked about Synergy and his ability to run. I mean, Wigmore's no slouch either. Doesn't do it quite as much, I don't think, but very effective there. And the offensive line did everything they can to get their quarterback in the end zone.
DC, 25 sacks this season, second most in the league. 95 tackles for loss this season, second most in the league. On that opening drive for Baltimore, DC had 0 of each. 11 plays, 73-yard, 4-minute and 2-second drive, and the Vultures take a 7-3 lead. What a start to this one.
Yeah, and the response by Baltimore, I mean, that's what you expect from a playoff team. Just a surgical, cutting up of the field, play by play. And next thing you know, they're in the red zone. And then next thing you know, some spectacular catching and run blocking, and you got 7 on the board.
From 1 yard deep, this is Harrison, who's got 2 return touchdowns this season. He is brought down at the 22-yard line. So DC's challenge will be to get touchdowns instead of field goals and try to keep the momentum moving, Charles.
You can't shoot a lot of holes in their last series, the playbook so far. It's just that as they got closer into the end zone, maybe dialed up the pass a little bit too much and went for it in the end zone when I think they had some options in the flat.
First down to the 22-yard line. And Synergy hands it off to Say. Say picks up 6 yards. This team passes the least amount in the league. Last in completions, attempts, and yards among starting quarterbacks, and I think that's going to be the challenge for them. Kevin Say, though, is helping them out big time in the running game so far. 22 yards on 6 carries. They might get a playoff here before the quarter. Yes, they do. Hand off Harrison. He's got the first down, and Moore breaks a tackle. Harrison 40 to the 45-yard line, and a great way to end the quarter for the Dragons.
Yeah, great run by Harrison, set up by great blocking as well on the edge there. It wasn't just the offensive lineman, but it looked like Percoco had a hand in that, and maybe a little Chuck Steller as well.
That's the end of the first quarter from Washington, D.C. It is 7-3. Baltimore leads the Dragons in this big-time rivalry game. Week 13, Season 23's Monday Night Spectacular. This is their first meeting this season, the third straight meeting in D.C. They've split the last 2, and overall, Baltimore leads the all-time series 8-3. And we start the second quarter with D.C. on their own 44-yard line. Say takes the handoff. Will only get 2 yards. 2nd and 8, your first quarter stats.
I mean, it's not, with the exception of rushing yards, the total yards are pretty close, Cam. Average per play, though, 6.7 to 5.5. It's still a close game here, and, I don't think D.C. can take too many hits for what they've done so far on the field. Oh,
Harrison got caught up behind his blocker there. That was big Michael Percoco up front. That'll set up 3rd and 7.
Yeah, the options are limited here on 3rd down and 7. You've got Kirby, you've got Percoco, and, you can easily play man-to-man against this defense, I think.
Gill goes in motion, had the 1 catch on the opening drive for 27 yards. Now 3-by-1, bottom of the screen. Synergy against just a 3-man rush. He takes off and gets the first down. That is great recognition.
Good coverage downfield, and Synergy didn't have any options. The pocket was starting to break down with just a 3-man rush, but made a smart decision, tucked it down and ran, and we're looking at another set of downs.
Synergy not terrible on the ground, 64 yards, which is pretty decent for a quarterback on 3 yards a carry, but he makes it happen there. Handoff on a draw to Kevin Say, breaks a tackle. Say gets 13, and it's not often you see Baltimore give up 13 on the ground.
I don't know what it is about those draw plays, Cam, but when they're run well, like on this one, good blocking in the middle, it's just it's one of my favorite plays on offense. I mean, you're showing that you fooled the defense, and now they're trying to guess what you're going to run against them next.
Baltimore gives up just 92 yards a game. That's sixth best in the SFL. They've given up 82 here in the first half. 3 receivers and 2 backs split in the backfield. The handoff goes to Harrison, and Harrison picks up 6. It's been awesome, Charles, to see these developmental backs this season really come alive, especially down the stretch.
Yeah, so far, Harrison, every time he touches the ball, he's been running crisp. Good off the snap. It's that ball, and it seems like he kind of puts it up on an extra gear as well.
7:50 to go in the first half. Both teams have scored on their possessions. This is just the second drive for DC of the game. Synergy takes off on a sneak, and he's actually going to push forward a little bit, but okay, now Shabazz is just starting to feel himself a little bit.
It's dangerous. I mean, I always get nervous when when the quarterback runs a lot, because they've been known to have butterfingers. So, I don't want to put that jinx out there, but I'll blame you if something happens.
3rd and 2, handoff to Say. He's not going to get there. Ooh. Just short of the sticks. Alvin Mack makes the stop. I think DC's probably going to have to kick this.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I mean, Alvin Mack is one of the best tacklers on the field. And if you're running, head to head against him, hat on hat, he's going to bring you down 9 out of 10 times.
Field goal is good. And DC once more puts up 3, not 7, early on in this game. But it does keep the game close, 7-6. Baltimore up by just a point. The DC Dragons, I wouldn't say backs totally against the wall, Charles, but they probably feel that way coming into this game. They are responding.
They know where the wall is, Cam, and they don't want to be near it. But how do you like that?
I don't think Nashville wanted to be close to the wall either last night. Chance Wall, I don't know if you saw that performance, but that was incredible. Wow. Anderson to the 26.
Was it a segue violation?
How so?
Will be fines handed out at the end of the game.
1st and 10 at the 26-yard line. Baltimore's got to be feeling pretty good. They've only had the ball one time in the first half, and they have the lead.
I think DC's going to need to dial it up a little bit. I don't think they've been terribly aggressive on the last couple series. I think they need to send some more pressure on Wigmore.
2 backs and 2 receivers. Wigmore fires. That is caught over the middle to Irvin. A 4-yard gain for Baltimore, 2nd and 6.
That's it here on 2nd and 6.
Say again, Charles?
Just the playbook's open here on 2nd and 6. When you get a handful of yards like that, it's good play, good opportunities for Wigmore.
Wigmore 6 of 8 to start. They'll pitch it to Gaines. He gets rid of a defender. What a block on the outside, and T-Roy Gaines is near midfield.
Yeah, that pitch play, dangerous when Gaines gets it. He is one of the strongest players on the field, and he is known for an ability to just lower the shoulder, lower the helmet, and just inflict pain on the defender.
Wow, Peanut Say literally looked like he took a seat there. That was a big-time run for Gaines. It's the first run for Baltimore longer than 4 yards tonight. 1st down and 10 at the DC 47. They'll keep it on the ground. They'll hand it off to G.P. Wells. Wells will be gang tackled at about the 49-yard line after a pickup of 5.
I mean, that last run is the type of play that gets your offensive line fired up, everyone on offense fired up, and it looks like we're going to probably see crisper blocking. Not that they're lacking blocking, but man, that last couple run plays has been sharp by Baltimore.
Halfway through the second quarter, handoff to Warren Murray, and Murray's got a 1st down to the 41.
I mean, they're making it look kind of easy here, Cam. Just haven't seen any loss in yardage on this series. I think, like I said at the beginning of this series, DC's going to have to dial it up somehow.
Congrats to Jack Wigmore. He crosses the 35,000-yard career milestone on that previous drive. Gaines picks up 3 to set up 2nd down and 7. Wigmore is 9th all-time, chasing Johnny Pickler, actually, who's one up on him, over 36,000.
Oh, wow.
Pickler may be working on a Hall of Fame career here in a year or two. Wigmore back to pass, will dump it off short. That is caught by Murray, and Murray will scoot out of bounds, or will be forced out of bounds after a pickup of a few. 3rd and 4.
Got good coverage by DC on this play. Don't sit back. you gotta dictate the terms here, because Wigmore is gonna make you pay. You gotta do something to disrupt the flow of this offense.
3rd and 4. Baltimore 2 for 2 on 3rd down conversions so far tonight. Wigmore against a 4-man rush, and he airmailed it past his intended receiver who looked open. That was Chima, the intended target. DC's defense comes up with a stop.
Not the best throw in Wigmore's career at all. They did looked like they did a fan stunt on that, and maybe threw it off. They got around the two ends, got around the tackle. Maybe they made the quarterback a little nervous. Had to get rid of that ball early.
Inside the 10, and that will hop into the end zone. Our first true stop of the evening belongs to DC, as Matty Coffins was unable to pin them inside the 10. 4:17 to go in the first half. 7-6 Baltimore, but it hasn't really felt like a defensive game, Charles. Both offenses are kind of doing whatever. It's just a matter of getting points.
Yeah, with the exception of that last series, DC did what they needed to do. Didn't put a lot of pressure on, but stopped Baltimore on their drive, and now they have an opportunity, even if they do a field goal, to take a lead here.
Both teams averaging over 5 yards per play here in the first half. Shabazz Synergy will hand it off to Say, and Say does well to get a couple of yards. The Vultures were circling Warfield on the stop.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, Cam. They were waiting for that run up the middle. I mean, they're showing some aggression on the Baltimore side. Now's the time to maybe bring out the play action or the rollout and see if they can catch Baltimore unaware.
2nd and 8 for Shabazz. We'll hand it off on a draw. Harrison will pick up 6 more. Sam Harrison tonight already up to nearly 40 yards on 5 attempts.
He's impressive every time he touches the ball, and I love it that they've got that draw play in their playbook. So far, it's worked every time they ran it.
Well, you can see Baltimore, I mean, everybody's backing off and playing cover. Oh, Synergy! Oh. What a sneak, and he had all kinds of room for the first down. Everybody getting involved in this rushing attack.
I took my eyes off the screen for a half a second, but it kind of looked like he did a quick snap there and did a run up the middle to catch the defensive line kind of off in their timing, was able to get those extra yards.
And Michael Percoco, the center, got up into the 2nd level to pick up a block for Shabazz. Synergy, 18 rushing yards, Say 42, Harrison 37 in the first half, and Stellar has been the quiet one, which is somewhat unusual. He takes that pitch. Both teams deploying that tonight, a 2-yard gain.
They liking the DC playbook on offense, and they're mixing it up. They've run it up the middle. They're doing tosses. They're doing draws. And Baltimore so far hasn't found a consistent answer against it.
2 receivers. Handoff goes to Say, and Say will pick up a mini to get to a 3rd down and short. Coming up at the half, Chris Curtis and Tyler Falk recap a tight-knit first half from DC. We'll hear Tyler's favorite of the top 4 to win a championship, and if the playoffs started today, which teams outside of the top 4 makes the most noise. This and more on the MNS halftime report. Synergy on 3rd and short again, able to get the first down, and that takes us to the 2-minute warning, and Baltimore starting to get frustrated.
I don't think they were expecting Synergy to run it that much. They maybe need to start looking at some of the stunts that they're running, maybe run some more pinches there to see if they can shut it down when he does decide to run it.
Baltimore getting exposed maybe a little bit up front as DC has found some open rushing lanes. 2 minutes to go. 7-6 Baltimore. The Dragons back on the move. This is just their 3rd possession of the half. They got field goals on their first 2 drives. Kevin Say gets 4 yards.
Good mix, Cam. I mean, that's I've said every series so far for DC, they've got a good mix of play selection And they've been stopped short a couple times, but overall they're moving down the field.
They came out throwing, but now they're back to their bread and butter, which has been this four-pronged rushing attack, at least tonight. If you include Synergy, 2nd and 6, everybody in the box. Sam Harrison going to try to scoot it outside. And gets 4 yards. These are not easy yards for Sam Harrison. He's still working.
I mean, he's not the highest rated player out there, but you'd never know. But the way he's running that ball, I mean, I thought that was going to be maybe a gain of 1. Was able to get a couple at the end of that one just through pure will.
Oh, he didn't. I was going to say watch Synergy on the sneak, but he didn't sneak this time. I believe DC took a timeout. I would not be surprised if they went for this with just 1:10 left in the half.
I mean, why not? I mean, you've got a lot on the balance here. You want to stay in the playoff hunt, but it doesn't look like they're going to do it.
Wow, that's an interesting call. They're going to fake it. They're going to fake it. They throw it. It is caught. No! Did he get the first down? No, he did not. Short, just barely. John Patrick Levine with the takedown.
Holy smokes. That was a pass to the backup fullback, Alexander. And I'm cheering that they got a completion off. Normally in this league, when they do those fake punts, you don't see a lot of completions.
And the pass was just off target, Charles. I mean, it just wasn't a good throw. They had to go back and get it. They also didn't have any of their star players in position to make that play. So instead, DC will give it up to Baltimore, and Jack Wigmore fires down the field, caught by Mattson. First down into DC territory. Timeout, Baltimore.
Yeah, he's just Mattson's just told Holder, hey, I can do that too. Watch me. A good catch in traffic. Was getting hit by the helmet in the rib cage. Was able to one-hand it.
Now Baltimore trying to get some points before the half. 4 wide receivers for Wigmore, who's 7 of 10. 470 yards and a clean sheet in the first 2 quarters. Jack drops to throw, fires, caught. Daly Holder into field goal range with 54 seconds on the clock.
It did that short drop back, Cam, and a quick release of the pass. He knew he was going to go at the snap, and DC was showing zone, and it was just perfect timing right within the soft area of the zone, and they made him pay for it.
Four wide, 2 to either side. Wigmore straight back, fires Ackerman wide open. Now they're down to the 18-yard line, and Baltimore pretty much can do anything they want here with plenty of time and not a lot of yardage to go.
So that catch right there, I did not think he was going to be able to bring that in. The ball was just floated over the fingers of the defense.
Wigmore's completed all 3 of his passes on this drive. No timeouts left for Baltimore. Wigmore will fire that pass into traffic and incomplete as it's broken up by Strongbow. It's just the second pass deflection for DC tonight.
Yeah, Strongbow had good coverage on that one, and actually had a shot at maybe getting an interception on that one, excuse me.
47 seconds left. Wigmore drops to throw, check down, Irvin getting to the 9. He is 1 yard shy of the sticks. No huddle.
That was great run after catch, Cam.
34 seconds. Wigmore in zone, incomplete. Now it's 4th down, and DC may have held to 3.
Yeah, I mean, I would be shocked if they went for it on this, but DC held their own there. It shows their worth when the team starts getting into your red zone, how you can respond. And on that particular play, on that series, they did everything they needed to do.
Jadooby-doo, Darrell Bullock in coverage, and this will be a Shark Tarkington field goal. Tarkington looking for kick 361 all-time to go through the uprights. He's a perfect 18 for 18 today, or this season rather, 19 for 19 now on a 7-play, 53-yard drive that took just 36 seconds. That's an average of 5 seconds a play. Puts Baltimore up 10-6.
What have we had, Cam, 1 punt tonight?
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, this is not... I did not expect... I expect a little bit more points on the board, but the way that both teams have been able to drive down the field has just been impressive. And I really think that, the defense on both sides are going to need to start, digging a little deeper and trying to dictate the terms or call some turnovers.
one actual punt and one fake punt, Charles.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about
that.
How can I forget that?
Which technically is not a punt, but yeah, no turnovers unless you count turnover on downs. Harrison on the return, I would guess, as DC, the most conservative team in the league, would probably sit on this in the first half. Synergy, remember, he started, Charles, 3 for 3 on that opening drive. He has not completed a pass since. Synergy will hand it off to Stellar, who got away and still managed to get 4 yards. They may get one more play before the half.
Yeah, I think it's smart just to run this out, Cam. You were talking about Synergy. Yeah, he's 3 for 5. But neither of these quarterbacks have made any mistakes, and both of them are. Well, I'm not sure about Wigmore, but Shabazz Synergy has thrown a lot of interceptions this year, not typical of Synergy. So I think he's been playing tonight as well as the previous 2 games. He's been playing very effectively.
I agree. That pass was intended for Jay Hayden, maybe just trying to get Shabazz in rhythm before he hit the locker room, but it falls incomplete, and that is the end of the first half. Baltimore 10, DC 6, but the score is a little elusive. Both offenses moving the ball, 173 to 166 in total yards of offense. Your first half takeaway.
Well, hats off to DC offensive game plan. I mean, they've shown a very good mix of run plays. The offensive line is really, on fire from a blocking standpoint. I would say, though, on the DC defense, said it a couple times in the first half, they got to figure out a way to dial it up a little bit and disrupt the Baltimore offense, because it's only a matter of time, I think, before that offense of Baltimore starts clicking and, kind of pressing down the field a lot more than we saw them in the first half.
Wigmore's your player of the half. He's got the only touchdown of the game, a rushing touchdown on a quarterback sneak. Let's take a halftime break presented by Breaks GPT and get it to Tyler and Curtis after that.
We just pulled a full-size Taylor Swift helmet. Shout out to all our Swifties. Travis Kelce. This is a Giants Lawrence Taylor.
Patrick Mahomes.
Chad Johnson with the Ocho Cinco.
We have a Drew Brees.
Is that an O.J. Simpson jersey?
It's an Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my goodness.
Tom Brady! Tom Brady!
And with that, welcome into the Monday Night Spectacular Halftime Report. Alongside Tyler Falk, I'm Chris Curtis with a 10-6 ball game. Tyler, Baltimore out on top right now thanks to a last-second field goal. What do you think about what we've seen from our nation's capital?
Well, I've seen what both teams are capable of, and this is exactly the kind of a matchup that this rivalry deserves. And the one thing that speaks to me is DC's playing DC-style football, which is we're going to play like we're winning even if we're losing. And so they're going to be conservative. They're going to run the football, and they're not going to throw a whole lot of passes. While it might, and the one thing I will give DC credit for is sometimes throughout this season and throughout many seasons for DC, they sometimes get bogged down in the monotony of just running the same couple of plays or running the same style of plays. They've mixed it up tonight. A lot of QB sneaks, a lot of pitches, a lot of different other little nuances that keep Baltimore's defense well and truly on their toes. And then to see them go for a fake punt, doing that is, all right, that's another little wrinkle that Baltimore has to keep in mind. And while Baltimore has done a great job of it, DC's going to have to change things up in the second half. It's something that we've typically seen in games past. They had to do it last season where DC, finally came out on home against Baltimore for the first time since all the way back in season 18. They've only won twice here at home against Baltimore, and it just proves how tough the Vultures are in, season out.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, DC needs to find different ways to stay in the conversation, especially at the tail end of the playoff standings right now, as the conservative style, while it works for them, sometimes need to adapt and evolve. Otherwise, well, as the human race goes, you die. So you got to really figure it out as far as that goes, and then trying new things tells me they're trying to do just that. So that's good stuff. Baltimore, always good. They are consistently one of the top 6 teams in the SFL at the end of the season, just about every single season, and they're showing why they deserve to be in the upper echelon. as of right now. So that finishes off our recap in the Dungeon of Dracarys Coliseum. Let's talk about the weekend that was, and more importantly, after all the dust has settled, who the top 4 teams are at the moment in the SFL playoff standings. The 4 spot belongs to Florida, 2-time defending champs. 3 spot is Mexico City, just above them. Arizona in the 2 hole, and then Canton in the top spot. All 4 of those teams, just 2 losses as it sits right now. What I'm going to ask you is I'm going to ask you to throw the records out the window. I don't care about records right now. Of the top 4 teams, who is your favorite, both in your heart and in your head, to come through and win the 23rd SFL championship?
Oh, that's so tough because
It is.
my heart wants to say Mexico City because of the rapid development we've seen over the last couple of seasons. But as far as my head goes, I cannot escape the fact that Arizona and Florida are still 2 of the best organizations out there in the top 4. Yes, Canton has been strong, and yes, common games, of course. Instead of somebody throw records out the window, I look at the common game stat for Canton. I look at the Nashville loss for Canton, and to me, that's a big red flag for me. And so,
Arizona has not won one.
They have not.
And Florida has won 2.
That's so true. Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm gonna give Eddie Gage his first title.
Okay.
I think it's a tough call this season, like it typically always is. But I think just like the East Division in general, how close that division is, I think the top 4 are separated by the slimmest of margins. The greatness of each of their coaching staffs are fully on display in the brevity of experience that we have for each individual organization. All 4 of them can be in the championship game, if not more.
Yeah, I agree. I like any of the 4. You could really mix and match any matchup you want. It'd still make for a really good championship game if that's what it comes down to. Let's talk about the waves that the other teams could make. We're going to include the Legend and the Vultures out in the exclusion list for this, and we're going to eliminate the top 6. And you and I will both pick one here. I'm going to give you first pick. Of the seeds 7 through 12 right now, and you know what? Just for funsies, let's include 13, 14, and 15 in the hunt. That's so we're looking Fort Worth, Charleston, 7 and 8, 9 Carolina, 10 Albuquerque, 11 Atlanta, 12 Nashville, 13, 14, 15 Lexington, DC, Louisiana.
Oh, my
of those
teammate.
teams, give me the team that you think has a chance to make the most noise in the SFL playoffs. And, you know, of course, obviously 13, 14, 15 have to get in.
Right. No, Christian wants me to say our team. You probably want me to say our team. And
No, I'm not telling you either way. You can pick whoever you want.
Right. I would love to see Carolina. I think Carolina will make some noise, but I think the team making the most amount of noise right now would have to be Albuquerque. Yes, a little bit up and down, but right now, them and Nashville sitting pretty strong. Nashville with a heartbreaking loss to Louisiana, and that just shows that they're good, but they cannot hold in the clutch scenarios at certain points, and especially toward the end of the season, you have to play clutch football. And so I'd like to see, I think Albuquerque has a good shot at making it here in the postseason.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, that's a team that's had more ups than downs, to be fair, and it's their first season as an expansion franchise. That's really good stuff, and kudos to the management staff over there. That said, I am going to go with a team that seemingly knows how to be in the playoffs, but has a problem making enough noise in it, and that's going to be Fort Worth. This is a team that has not really gotten the big one, so to speak. Marcus Dunhill over there trying to bring that team to some relevance in the postseason, and I really think that this may be the season that the Jekyll and Hyde goes away. We get more of the good than the bad, and that could be a team that could upset some people in the top of the bracket. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's good stuff. That's something to think about, because as you have the top 4 that are always making the most noise and always the loudest in the crowd, you have some in the bottom that are looking to try to ruffle some feathers up at the top and break through that proverbial glass ceiling. So that should be a lot of fun. That said, we get to 2 teams that are, well, one is the 6th seed, one's the current 14 seed. Baltimore over DC 10-6 at the end of the first half. We're going to hit the second half action as it rolls on live next. Cameron Irvine and Charles Doherty on the call. We'll see you for post game. Enjoy the rest of the game, everybody.
Welcome back to the start of the second half from Dungeon of Dracarys Coliseum. Thank you, Chris Curtis. Thank you, Tyler Falk, for that halftime report. David Anderson on the return to the 29-yard line, and that's where we will start our third quarter. These are your first half stats from both squads. Pretty even across the board. DC hanging around with their run game, but might need some more big plays. Lauren Prococo, Charles, just one catch for 5 yards in the first half.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I was also going to make mention that Tyler Falk had his new Falk collection on display and didn't say anything about it. I mean, it's kind of like a Paul Bunyan meets Guy Ritchie look. I mean, it's awesome. Like he's driving to a lumberjack convention in his Aston Martin.
Well, you're our fashionista, Charles, so I think they're just saving it for you. T-Roy Gaines to start the third quarter, breaks a tackle deep into DC territory. What a play for T-Roy, his longest run in quite some time. He already had a 24-yarder tonight, and that was a huge play to get the second half started.
I would make sure that he's actively involved in the rest of the game plan here on offense. Every time he touches the ball, I mean, he's like trying to tackle a mountain. He's one of the strongest on the field. I said before, he's a master at breaking tackles, and golly, positive yardage, left and right for him every time you give him the ball.
T-Roy Gaines, kind of a quiet season. In the last 3 games combined, he's only had 17 yards, and that handoff goes to Wells. Baltimore starting to find out that they can run tonight, too. That picks up 9.
Yeah, I mean, that last play by Gaines is a great way to motivate the offense, and you could just see the blocking was a little bit extra crisper, if that's even a word, on that last play. Crispier.
Can I have some? I want it extra crisper, please. Too bad we're not playing Fort Worth tonight, and we could do a Jay-Z Bacon thing. 2nd and 1. Oh, Wigmore tried to sneak. He got bamboozled by Nick Fargo, but they give him the first down.
How did he get the first down? That happened so quick. It looked like he was a little short, but heck.
No review.
Baltimore got to be seeing stars.
Yeah, Baltimore, well, he's probably looking at their pants. 5 stars for 5 championships. First down and 10, Wigmore straight back, fires, caught Jackson Roberts to the 16-yard line. Wow, Baltimore shot out of a cannon here in the third quarter.
Jackson Roberts doesn't get the ball a lot. That's his 4th reception of the year. But man, when you're in that type of position, you got to make it count when they target you. He did exactly what he needed to do.
There's Wigmore's numbers. T-Roy Gaines 60 yards on 5 carries. Last time he had over 60 yards was March 23rd of this year when he had 65 against Atlanta. That's been a while. Wigmore into the end zone, incomplete. Tried to squeeze it in there to Daley Holder. He got popped.
He did get popped due there with the jarring hit. I thought that was going to be a touchdown there, but great defense there, particularly with Dew.
8:15 to go in the third. Haven't had a chance to catch my breath here. The start of this drive for Baltimore. On the 16-yard line, and Gaines will go in motion as DC hopes they can get a little bend but not break out of this front 4 as Wigmore into the end zone, tipped and incomplete. Firing that Vasquez, who has 7 tackles from the first half with the deflection.
It looked like that deep route of Irvin took a while to develop, and meanwhile, it allowed the DC zone coverage downfield to just kind of set up shop in the end zone.
Give Baltimore's offensive front credit. Mike Wagoner, who nearly got there, may have been Kano Fortson, somebody with a 1 on their jersey nearly got there, but this defensive line has been pretty much silent. But here on a 3rd down and 10, the team with the 2nd most sacks in the SFL could tee off as Wigmore's going to try to get rid of this quick. David Anderson goes in motion from left to right. The crowd at Dungeon of Dracarys is just deafening Wigmore, end zone, wide open, touchdown. Mac Chima with his first catch of the night. Baltimore goes up 10.
And that had to have been a breakdown in coverage, Cam, because it looked like you had 3 defenders up on the goal line and allowed Chima to just slip through and wide open at the end of the, at the edge of the goal line there. The end zone there. Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to be having some pretty direct discussions there on the sideline about the coverage on that last play.
Curtis, I don't know about you, but I think that is the best representation that we've had this season of the crowd going full volume to nothing. I mean, it just went silent here at Dracarys, and that may have been the loudest crowd we've heard all year.
Oh, definitely. I know you were asking Curtis this question, but yeah, I would agree with you on your comment that was directed to Curtis.
Who, me?
You said Curtis.
Oh,
Call me
God.
Curtis.
Man, what is happening to me? Somebody's got to medically clear me to do these games as Harrison gets to the 32.
I think you said Curtis. The chat can confirm and will confirm. Yeah, I thought you called me Curtis. I've been called worse, though, Cam. You know that.
Yeah, you've been called Mike St. Green. That's way worse. Harrison on the return, and now DC is up against it a little bit because they have not scored a touchdown tonight. They're going to have to score a touchdown if they want to win this game now after Baltimore's terrific 2-minute drive to start the second half.
Yeah, and to your point, leading off the second half is Coco needs to get more engaged. They have to figure out a way to get her the ball.
She is in the slot at the moment. And they will give it off to Say, and Say is dropped for no gain. Giovanni Bolt on the stop.
Yeah, I think they got to go deep in their playbook here, come up with something creative, a way to get some separation for Prococo. I know it's going to be hard, when they're doing man-to-man against Prococo, but gotta figure something out.
Center G is sacked.
Oh!
Came in unblocked. Al Walker with the takedown, our first sack of the game.
And Al Walker continues to lead Baltimore. That's a 6.5 sack for the season. He is just a pass rushing specialist. I mean, if you don't put a man on him, he is definitely going to get to the quarterback and make you pay for it.
Wow, 3rd and 13. DC hasn't been in a 3rd and long like this all night. 4 for 7 on 3rd down. This is the toughest yet. Kirby up at the top of the screen, runs inside. Synergy pump fake, just a 3-man rush. Synergy fires, throws an interception. Picked off. Baltimore going the other way. 35-30, being chased by a big man down the sideline. Ben Stack and paper, touchdown. Baltimore, they're running away.
Absolutely amazing. Cam, this team, Baltimore, is on a roll when it comes to touchdowns scored on defense. Is their 7th touchdown scored this season. I mean, most teams haven't scored 42 points this season. The defense is just putting it up. They had 2 games where they didn't put any defensive scores up, but there was a time starting off in week 4 going up to week 10 where they had defensive touchdowns scored every week.
And actually, I've got them now. That is their 8th defensive touchdown, which would mean, Charles, that's more touchdowns.
It is their 8th. Yep, it is their 8th. One game, Stack and Paper and Mac had 1 apiece. I misadded.
So Charles, the Baltimore defense has 8, and Shabazz Synergy through the air has 7 this season.
That's crazy. That defense, man, that secondary makes you pay, man, and that's one of the reasons why Prococo, I think, has been silent tonight, because that secondary has just had outstanding coverage on shutting down the number 1 wide receiver for DC.
They were looking for Prococo on that play. She was double covered. And Sam Harrison, who has gotten DC out of field position jail many a times this season, has struggled to get them decent field position in this one. You can see, just got hit on a guy untouched right up the gut, just like that. 14 points in 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Such a competitive first half, Charles. DC's really up against it.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are up against the proverbial wall, and they have to show something here. And they're going to have to take their foot off the run game a little bit.
They'll try to reestablish. He lost the ball, and Baltimore recovers. Unreal.
Oh my God. Oh, Alvin Mack as well. I mean, he just laid the hammer down on that hit. And it's when it rains, it pours. In DC, they're in a horrible situation here to recover from. That defensive DC is going to have to do something to get this team back on track.
Wow, Baltimore. My goodness. It is really rolling downhill right now. 7 in the box for DC. They are now desperate defensively. Toss. Gaines runs over Peanut. Saves, having a tough night. Pick up a 5.
I love it. You get that fullback engaged. He's been money all night every time he's touched the ball. So hopefully we'll see him again and again.
Second down, Wigmore. Flips it outside. Haven't seen that all night. Matson, open! Oh, I thought he got in just across the pylon. They'll mark him down inside the 1.
I thought he had it, Cam. Do you think he got in?
I thought so on first glance, but let's see again.
You know, Matson's been relatively quiet. A couple spectacular catches, but, man, get him engaged. Just like we say, get Percoco, your tight end, engaged on DC. You got to get Matson in there, too, because good things happen when your tight end's having a good game.
The ball is over the white line. Could Wigmore get his second? Yeah, he's going. He didn't get it. Are you kidding me? Strongbow from behind. How does that happen?
Know how he didn't get it. I mean, great. I'm not taking anything away from Strongbow on that one, but wow.
So, second and goal. My goodness, he's going to try it again. Wigmore, nope. Play action. Wigmore gonna take off and score. In his bag tonight.
You know what? T-Pat's been scouting Vancouver. That's all I'm saying. Thank you. That touchdown was brought to you by Vancouver.
Wow. What a play call.
I knew he was going to run it as soon as he did that that rollout.
Strongbow, Charles, I don't think he thought he could catch him. Thought maybe he could take a different angle at it, or maybe he was defending somebody back there, but got a little lost trying to get Jack Wigmore, but I don't think it would have mattered anyway. Wigmore had all day, now has 2 rushing touchdowns on 5 yards.
That's crazy. I never would have guessed that.
No, I never would have either.
They took control, Cam. They just I don't know what they drank at halftime or what was on their orange slices, but holy smokes, they came out on fire.
We have not seen a team come out this hot, this quickly out of the locker room all season long. I mean, not even 5 minutes, and they have outscored DC 21-0.
That's crazy. Oh, my God. And, you know, it just how quickly the game can turn the tide. I mean, DC, as we said, going into halftime, they had a shot at it, but now it's looking like they're going to have to take out 3/4 of their playbook to get into this one.
First down to the 24-yard line. Synergy has not completed a pass since the opening drive of the game. Handoff to Say picks up 3, and that's the danger, Charles, of an offense that has struggled to push the ball down the field this season is, you can keep a game close, but as soon as stuff starts to hit the fan like this, you're really in trouble.
Hit the fan is a great way to put it.
Synergy's pass is caught, but Mike Daggs saying just tuned in. It was 10-6 at the half. So if you wouldn't have been saying yikes about 8 minutes ago, 3rd and short.
I think yikes is probably the cleanest word that was used.
4:42 to go, so finally Synergy able to get a completion here. They'll try to pick up the first down and stop some of this momentum, and Kevin Say is back to work. He's over 60 yards.
They needed that first down, Cam. They would have been a nightmare situation if they had to give the ball back to Baltimore.
Yeah, they need a touchdown drive, Charles, and you just got to go one drive at a time here, but they've got to do something to stop this momentum right now.
Agreed.
Handoff Harrison, he lost a yard. wrapped up in the backfield by Frank Smith, his 5th tackle.
And the scary thing, Cam, is that the Baltimore defense is now in a position where they can afford to be extra aggressive and risky. And they are loaded across the board, and you don't want to be an offensive coordinator going up against that.
Look at Baltimore just flying to the football. They know it's coming. 3rd and 8 coming up for the Dragons. It's going to be up to the arm of Shabazz once more.
Yeah, definitely in that offensive line, because now's the time for DC to send the cavalry and to try and bring them down.
We were on pace for another triple-digit night, and Baltimore just yoinked it. Synergy back to pass. Synergy open. Percoco gets away. 25 down to the 22-yard line. Finally, Laura Percoco gets free.
So needed. We've been talking about getting her involved here in the second half, and great route there. Found another gap in the zone, and Synergy was just able to get rid of it. Good pass protection. DC, I cannot overstate how much DC needed that play.
Deceptively quick too. I think Giovanni Bolt thought he had her, and she zipped right past him. 1st and 10 at the Baltimore 21-yard line, trying to put together their first touchdown drive of the night. Stellar goes in motion from right to left. The handoff goes to Say, and Say will muscle his way for a long 3.
Your point earlier, Cam, they got to get a touchdown off this. Stay in the game. We've only got a couple minutes left in the 3rd, and in Baltimore, they're masters at running out the clock, so they're going to have to score pretty much on every possession.
Only a 38-yard difference, but Harrison can't get away from Frank Smith, and now it's 3rd and 8 once again. Dragons have more first downs than Baltimore, but Baltimore's been explosive. 7 yards a play, the league's #1 offense at 370 yards per game.
I mean, it's the mistakes. The Baltimore made that good playoff teams make you pay for your mistakes, and Baltimore was a case study on that.
Shabazz incomplete, had Percoco and Hayden in the area, so the Dragons will have to kick the field goal. At least they got something. That will make it a 3-score game again, so at least DC gets a little bit. Now their defense has to come up with a stop and give it back to their offense in the hopes that they can finally put together a touchdown drive.
I could be wrong, but I haven't seen many blitzes, if any, from the DC side. I think now's the time to try and put some of that in your game plan here going into the 4th quarter.
The field goal is good. It's been a busy night for Caleb Richards. Now quickly up to 15-15 on the season. It's 31-9. So again, a 22-point 3-score game. Dragons just need a big-time stop. What a whirlwind SFL action is sometimes. David Anderson on the return. Anderson, a little bit of room, wasn't even tackled or touched rather till the 30. Up to the 32-yard line. DC lost last week 37-7 against Arizona. It was their first loss by double digits since they lost their playoff game to the Canton Classics last season, and unfortunately suffering the same fate tonight.
Yeah, but I think their defense though was running a little bit better. They had he had 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, 101 rating. Got Kirby engaged over 100 yards receiving, and it seemed like the offense was moving a little bit.
Wigmore's pass caught by Irvin, a pickup of 8. Peanuts say the nice cleanup there. 2nd and 2 for Baltimore as the Vultures try to put this thing firmly away. Wigmore has had a solid night. He's added 2 rushing touchdowns to that stat line, so 3 total touchdowns, no turnovers for Wigmore. 1:28 to go. He takes off again on a quarterback sneak and moves the chains.
Wigmore he is run happy tonight. I mean, what's that? His 5th, 6th carry of the night, and only a 1.6 yard average, but 2 of them for touchdowns.
Here's the crazy: Wigmore has more carries than Wells or Murray combined. Like, wow. That is some game plan. Toss to Gaines, who has been very active tonight. And it really feels like, Charles, that Baltimore has unleashed T-Roy Gaines on DC. He has been quiet. Nothing out of T-Roy all season long in the run game. It is his time tonight.
And it just shows what he can do when you give him the ball. He's he's one of the best, if not the best fullback in the league.
Just like that, Baltimore is into DC territory. They have more total yards in each quarter as the game has gone along tonight. That is a handoff to Wells, and Wells gets 7. Baltimore continuing that yards per play average of about 7, and that's not going to get it done defensively.
And that was a smart run by Wells. It looked like the play was designed to bounce outside, but it looked like that they had it shut down from DC defense had it shut down. Made that quick adjustment inside and was able to get a first. Able to get a good gain.
Wigmore slid a little too early trying to protect himself. That'll bring us to 3rd down and 1 at the end of the 3rd quarter. Well, DC was down 4, and just like that, they find themselves down 22, 31-9. Baltimore trying to improve to 8-3. We'll be right back.
Presentation of the Simulation Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or account of the game without the express written consent of the league office is prohibited.
Start of the 4th quarter. Thank you, Curtis. Baltimore 31, DC 9, as the Dragons' postseason hopes are slipping away. A semifinalist last season, Wigmore on a rollout. Now he's taken off. Wigmore 30 down to the 28-yard line. Are you serious?
Wigmore's getting run happy. I wonder I'd love to see his expression when the coach came up to him and said, "We're going to be handing it off to you 20 times today."
Wigmore says, show me some Joe Flacco tape. Sign me up.
How about stock load the Tylenol?
Absolutely. 1st down at the 28-yard line. Handoff. Oh, Wells with the spin. 8 more yards. What a clinic.
Well, he does the sexy spin move, and that's where all the eyes are. But also, the number 66 Bleeker, great pull, set the edge there. Pretty much all the offensive linemen, Arnold, Bleeker, both Bleekers, and Johnson and Sir Charles, did great blocking on that play.
9:06 to go. Baltimore. Pitch. Gaines. Look at the block. T-Roy down to the 7. Charles, Baltimore only beat Pittsburgh by 3 last week. Before that, they got pretty much blown out by Carolina. Some doubt was creeping in, maybe outside the Vulture locker room, but this has been their best game of the season.
Oh, definitely. And, great on all counts,
Wow.
Special teams, offense, and defense.
8 for 80 for T-Roy. Wigmore to throw. Wigmore incomplete. That would have gotten him some incentive money. Strongbow another clean hit at the goal line.
Yeah, that was a good hit too. I mean, DC, you got to give them credit, man. When you start getting into their house, into the red zone, they're going to make you pay for it when the ball comes in your direction.
2nd down and goal. Roberts goes in motion. Baltimore trying to finish off the Dragons. An incredible second half after they were up only 10-6. They've scored on both of their second half possessions. Wigmore, does he throw? It is picked off. Oh my goodness, what a play by DC. Nick Fargo with the interception. They needed that.
A 15-season veteran. I mean, he's been quiet all game. Makes a big statement on that interception. Juggled a little bit, but he was not going to drop that ball.
Mike Wagner applied the pressure. Fargo in between 2 different Vultures. And DC still has life. They need 3 touchdowns in 8 minutes, 34 seconds. They are backed up deep, but you never know.
You never know, Cam.
Synergy gives it off to Say. Can't get through, only a pickup of 2. Charles, next week we have Florida at Minnesota, 2 of the top 4 teams in the SFL. It could be a championship preview with the way the two have been playing. The two-time defending champ, Minnesota, was in the semifinals last season and played Florida, lost to Florida in those semifinals, looking for revenge and to try and take a top 4 seed. It is going to be much-watched football next week as Chuck Stellar gets the first down.
Yeah, I think one of the last games we did the DC, Stellar had a pretty good game. They handed it off to him a lot and always had a positive effect.
Been quiet tonight, 17 yards on 5 carries. Say's in the backfield with 68 of his own yards. Harrison has 39. Synergy has 29. But rushing yards don't really count when you're down 31-9 as Percoco goes in motion.
Coverage on Percoco.
And off Say, not much there. DC will try to matriculate the ball down the field. Expect around 5 minutes to see something maybe a little different. Their no-huddle offense has been pretty good in recent weeks.
Yeah, I love the matriculate reference.
We're hitting all corners of the...
Waiting for Herculean. You haven't said that in a while, and I miss it.
I'll try to put it in the script here tonight as Stellar stays in bounds. First down to the 35-yard line, under 7 to play.
Yes, get that man the ball. 5'11", 240, Cam. That's a bowling ball.
That play is all about, do you have a receiver outside that can run block? And both these teams obviously have that. 6:50 left. DC again on the move. They have 258 yards of total offense tonight. But unlike Baltimore, their yardage has decreased every quarter as Say only picks up 2, and their lack of deep threat on first down is really killing them here late.
And it looks like they've kind of, I wouldn't say shut down Say, but Say isn't getting those big yard gains that he was having early in the game.
Yeah, he started off hot. Pitch to Stellar. This one doesn't work as well. Giovanni Bolt brings him down, so now 3rd down and 10. This feels like kind of the ball game for the Dragons.
Oh, definitely. And curious to see what formation they line up in, and they're going 3 wide.
Where's Percoco? Slot right. Jay Hayden, the other tight end, is far right, and then their 2 receivers are on the left. Now they send Percoco in motion. Baltimore's in some kind of maybe zone pressure. Max showing a blitz off the outside. He brings it. Synergy deep down the field. Caught by Percoco on the motion. Brilliant play call there from the Dragons. Another first down.
What made it brilliant, Cam, is they put Percoco in motion to the top of the screen where they overloaded that zone coverage, and it was on the same side where they were doing the blitz package as well. So nice read there by Synergy, and a great catch by Percoco.
5:23 to go. Stellar in motion. Back to Say, and Say not much there. I think after the next play, Charles, we'll get to see what DC's no-huddle offense has to offer as they've got to hit it in high gear.
Definitely need to get in high gear. It's every time you get the ball in that series, you got to score. Maybe an onside recovery. Ooh.
2nd down, 9. Handoff Harrison, absolutely destroyed in the backfield. So now they need a great pass out of this. Percoco is off the field. It's it's Gill and Kirby, and that play was blown up in the backfield. DC has to go.
That's not a best situation to go into hurry up. I don't know what kind of passes they had in that package, but it might have been worth your while to huddle up and get some time to get a new set out there, especially if you're going hurry up the rest of the way.
4th and 11 for the Dragons, trying to keep the game alive here and trying to avoid falling to 5 and 6. Synergy deep down the field, incomplete, looking for Percoco, and she got teed up on. Baltimore will take over on downs after the interception.
And yeah, she did get teed up on. It looked like that was young Vaught. I mean, he's known to leave a mark when he hits you, and that's not easy going up against Percoco.
7
Got
games.
Like 260, 195 hitting the 260 tight end.
Yeah, that was hitting below or hitting above your weight, right, Charles? Isn't that what they
That's
say?
right.
1st and 10 in the 45. It's all window dressing now here for Baltimore. Handoff to Murray. Will pick up 2. Just 7 games on a light slate as a lot of teams have their final bye and prep for the final week of the season. On Friday, Arizona takes on Vancouver. They are trying to keep a top 4 spot, hoping to take care of business there. Carolina at Lexington, a monster game on Friday between those two young playoff hopeful squads. Here on 2nd and 8, Wigmore will take some clock down. Toss out the Gaines, been killing them on 2nd down, got another 1st down. What a night for T-Roy. Saturday, Louisiana takes on Houston in a all of a sudden extremely important game. Louisiana and Houston both still alive for the playoffs, trying to get a huge win there. Albuquerque's at Bossier City. The Adams trying to protect a top 12 spot. Canton can win the division at Queen City, and then LA takes on Pittsburgh. What are your what's the odds makers, Charles, on Queen City pulling that upset on Canton?
I love Canton. I love watching them play, but I don't want a team to go without a win. I mean, I really don't. I know some of the folks over in Queen City, and I just don't want them going in the offseason winless.
Handoff to Murray. It's well, there's an injury. That's Strongbow, so things have gone bad to worse for DC. Here's the kicker, Charles. The final week of the regular season, Queen City plays Pittsburgh. So one of those teams, sadly, is going to end with a loss to one another, and that's not going to feel very good. It also could be a battle for who gets the number 1 pick in the upcoming draft. So even a Queen City versus Pittsburgh Week 15 game has meaning around here. 2nd down and 7. Handoff, Murray almost got the 1st down.
Gaines has got 100 yards on 10 carries for a 10-yard per carry. And most of that was in the second half.
Yeah, with Ron Haynes talking 23 yards on 4 carries in the first half. So in the second half, he has 77 yards on 6 carries.
You said Ron Haynes, Cam.
Well, yeah, in our stats truck, he gave the note about the 23 yards. No, I didn't call you Ron.
Sorry. No, well, that's on me. I'll take the hit. God bless America.
You're just paranoid now.
I am. I'm just worried about you, Cam.
I know. So got to get checked out. Wells with a 1st down. Look at the fans. Just a disheartening season for DC. I don't know what happened in the offseason, Charles, but the 2 wide receivers contracted really hurt this team all season. They tried to establish an offense. Some games it worked, some it didn't, but that's got to be their number 1 priority in the offseason, assuming that they won't be able to make the playoffs even at 6-6.
I can't see running an offense with at least 3 or 4 wide receivers that are, solid and reliable. And they've got 2 that are, but it's tough, man. You have to be really, really creative. And it's the team like Baltimore that has that secondary so loaded, they can just be aggressive and focus on, like Percoco, like we saw at least for the majority of the game, kind of, shut you down.
And I'll give him credit. 274 yards of offense, 17 1st downs. Ooh. What is Wigmore doing here in the 2-minute offense?
Baby, run.
I think Wigmore's got the over on this one. That was crazy. Boy, Jack's data whiffed tonight. Sorry, Hunter. Data's normally very accurate. They had DC favored in this one. It did not pan out that way tonight. DC did win last season's meeting 27-25 in what is most certainly a scoregami, but just didn't go DC's way tonight. It's just crazy when you look at the box score. It doesn't look all that bad, but it was just Baltimore's resurgence in the 3rd quarter that was
right out of the locker room, Cam. They just blew it up.
Yeah, that was a sight to behold. Baltimore tonight, 357 yards of offense. They lead the league, averaging 370. So they're almost on their average. They're number one in the league in passing touchdowns and rushing touchdowns, 15 and 16 respectively, as Murray gets the first down. They have 2 rushing touchdowns tonight and 1 passing touchdown, so balance there too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this was a wild game, Cam. I mean, I thought we were looking at maybe, going to the last second, and then, like we said before, coming out of the locker room, Baltimore was just on fire and just took over.
Well, now you got to throw Baltimore back in the mix of championship contenders as Gaines gets down to the 10 last time out for DC. Their losses this season to Minnesota, the Legend beat them up pretty good, 44-31. Then a 1-point loss to Vancouver, a stinger in Week 6. And then that surprising 45-28 loss from Carolina just a couple of weeks back. That's Baltimore's losing resume, but plenty of great wins as well. None bigger than this one tonight against their rival.
Yeah, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, Cam, and this is pretty eye-opening.
3rd down and 6. They can't run out the clock, so Wigmore needs a touchdown for an incentive, passing touchdown. We'll see what they do with this.
You think that's going through his head, Cam?
Who knows? We'd have to ask Jack. Looks like they're going to run. Matson goes in motion. Gotta hurry. Just gets set. Hand off Murray to that side, and Strongbow's back in the game. Makes the hit. So more.
He didn't get up very quickly.
No, more opportunities for Tarkington to add to the lead.
Yeah, and this is gonna take it down to a handful of seconds.
This hurts, Charles. DC 5-4. Lost to Arizona 37-7. Lost to Baltimore. Field goal pending 34-9. It's tough down the stretch to see the team kind of crumble like that.
Well, I mean, the good news is they've got a good structure in place, and I think they're pretty clear on what they need to do next season. And I think next season we'll be looking at a completely different Dragon squad, and the win loss will be a lot different as well.
Chris Curtis and Tyler Falk will put a bow on this broadcast here tonight and preview a lighter than normal Week 14.
I might have given it away, Cam. He might have been announcing his Falk collection, the Postgame. Shoot.
Don't you mean his Falk collection?
Yeah. What the Falk? And there might be a fragrance in there as well. Autumn Mist.
I'm speechless. Autumn Mist. Wow. The things you hear in a blowout with 19 seconds left. That passes incomplete to Percoco.
Well, Percoco made some big plays in the second half. I think if they would have found a way to get her fired up in the, earlier in the game, we might have had a closer game and maybe even looking at last second play here to win the game.
I know we don't have any games on Saturday, but keep your eyes peeled. SFL YouTube. Big announcement from the channel coming up. That's 2 p.m. Eastern, I believe. Synergy's pass is caught by Kirby. And they'll quickly get up to the line. Maybe they can get some more stat padding here. Shabazz gets everybody set. 3 seconds left.
What are they going to do with 3 seconds left, Cam?
They're going to try to hit that over. That's
ace
what they're going
quads.
to try to do.
I picked not ace quads. No, I guess not.
What a bad beat that would be to lose an under bet on the last play of the game in a blowout like this. 34-9 and overshot. Synergy. That is incomplete, and that was a second half performance for the ages for Baltimore. If they go on to win a championship. We're going to be talking about that third quarter and about whatever they said in the locker room coming out of the break. That was unbelievable. 34-9 is your final score. Charles, your final thoughts and players of the game?
Or whatever they ingested at halftime as well. I mean, I would say, give up some honorable mention to Ben Stackenpaper for that interception touchdown return, and also T-Roy Gaines coming out going over 100, and most of that was in the second half. But I'm going to give the game ball to Golden Feet Wigmore, the touchdown pass and the 2 rushing touchdowns.
Wigmore was awesome. I'll give it to my man Gaines. 100-yard performance when he had not had anything like that in a long time. His last 100-yard game was November 12th of last year, nearly a year ago, when he did it against the Arizona Scorpions. 34-9, Baltimore over DC. We'll send it to Chris Curtis and Tyler Falk for postgame coming up here just in a little bit. We'll send you over to those guys now. Take it away, fellas.
Thank you, Cameron. Baltimore outscores the DC Dragons 24-3 in the second half en route to a 34-9 final score on the road at Dungeon of Dakara's Coliseum. I'm Chris Curtis alongside Tyler Falk. It's the SFL post-game report on the Monday Night Spectacular. Tyler, Baltimore asserted their dominance. I think that's the only real way you can say that. Quick scores really turned this game upside down in a hurry in that third quarter.
Yeah, Baltimore really dictated the way that DC played football, and unfortunately for DC, they could not play their same style of football they did in the first half. They had to try and switch things up, and they just failed to do so. Very short drives, very short time of possession, and then things when they try to get things going, it was just too little, too late, and it ends up costing them a win. And crucially, the best they can do now is 6-6, and as we've seen in seasons past. And especially if you're a DC fan, well, the last time you went 6-6, you missed the playoffs in season 20. So it's a massive, massive blow to DC's playoff chances. And tonight, even playing at home shows me that it just proves to me that DC's not a playoff team this season.
Yeah, it's hard to say, or it's hard to see, but yeah, you're right. 6-6 typically has not gotten the job done. On very rare instances, has a 6-6 team made it in this 12-game format. So we'll see what happens come playoff scenarios, and that's of course if they get to 6-6. That's remains to be seen with one more game on the docket for them. Looking at it though, the Vultures find themselves in the conversation. I don't think you can put them in the top 4 at this point, but you certainly can keep them in the conversation of the upper echelon of this league. Talk to me about how they're feeling, you think, coming out of a solid road win at DC and comparing them to the other upper level teams in this league.
Yeah, I think Baltimore's going to be feeling pretty good. They've officially clinched a playoff spot with his 8th win on the season, and so they don't really have to worry about their final game of the regular season coming at Charleston close off the season. It just goes to show me how strong this team is coming in to some pretty massive away games for the Vultures. They now have to finish out their season on the road, and they've had some struggles early on the season. They lost to Minnesota and they lost to Vancouver, both on the road. But here to end the season, finishing off the last 3 games on the road, 3-0, got to definitely show a lot of promise for when they go into the playoffs. And if they can take care of if things continue the way they're going, and if they find themselves at a home playoff game, which it more than likely seems like they will, then they go in, winning a wild card game, potentially going into a semifinal game with some really good momentum on away games. So I think everything's turning up for Baltimore, and they've got to be feeling pretty good about themselves.
Yeah, completely agree with that. Should be fun to see how they do getting into the playoff conversation. Looking ahead, we have a week 14 that's a little bit later than normal. So we'll talk a little bit about that and go over the preview of the schedule like we usually do on the end of this program. Let's go over first the Friday slate. There's 2 games on Friday. That's incorrect. It's all Saturday. No games Saturday, so it's all Friday. Friday, Sunday, and then Monday for games this particular week coming up. And let's start by talking about those two. It's Arizona and Vancouver, and then of course Carolina and Lexington. Go ahead and pick one, talk about it, and I'll talk about the other.
Easy for me. Carolina, Lexington, both teams sitting at 6 wins. A 7th win, as we've just talked about with DC, means so much in terms of making the postseason. For Carolina, they have a really good SOV. Lexington, not the greatest. A win for both these teams means that they have a 6-win team adding to that SOV, and that would mean a massive amount for Carolina, maybe solidifying themselves in playoff contention. For Lexington, a lost season with a very, very they're on a tightrope at that point at 6-6. They got to wait another week for things to maybe fall their way, and you don't want to be in that scenario going into the final week where you have to rely on other teams to do your dirty work. So it's gonna be a bloodbath for these two teams coming up.
Last time the Skyhawks played a Gabriel Manning team, Gabriel Manning torched them, I believe, for 200 plus yards and a couple of scores. So that's something to keep in mind going into that game. So Carolina looking to bounce back from that in a crucial Week 14 tilt. Arizona, Vancouver, the other game on the docket there. Vancouver has definitely had a more down season than up, and just about everybody in Vancouver will tell you that. And they would look to really solidify a home win. If they could do so against Arizona, that would be a banner for them in a season that has not met expectations, to say the least. Arizona trying to keep their top seed hopes alive. They are currently one of the teams with 2 losses in the top 4, and they are on the road at Canada Field inside the Delta Dome. That should be a fun one, no doubt, on Friday night. We go to Saturday. We'll pick a game each. Louisiana, Houston is 1. Albuquerque, Bossier City, Canton, Queen City, and Los Angeles, Pittsburgh are your choices. Tyler, go ahead and pick for Saturday, or for Sunday, sorry.
For Sunday, as we say, I talked a little bit about halftime about how this team could make some noise, and it starts by taking down a Bossier City team also down this season, kind of like Vancouver. Of course, Bossier City, former Alamo City, former Lone Star Glory. So a lot of pedigree from Bossier City. So for an up-and-coming team taking down a pretty decent franchise en route to the postseason, that would give you a lot more street cred and maybe a couple of wins here. Albuquerque does have a game in Week 15, so a win against Bossier City and maybe a final Week 15 win sees them in the upper echelon. Maybe a home playoff game for Albuquerque. Wouldn't that be something from a former SFL M team? I should say also current SFL M team, but just the SFL version of that. So Bossier City looking to finish out strong. They would love to play spoiler against the Atom.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of expansion teams doing battle in that game. I'm going to lean on the Louisiana-Houston game. Reason being is because Louisiana's been on a bit of a surge lately. I believe they've won 3 out of 4. You recently just got a firsthand view of how this team goes, and when they go, they really, really go. Tommy Utah, a bit of an enigma, but he's been on the more positive side of that of late. They go against a Houston team that has not seen the positive end of results of late and find themselves tumbling out of the playoff conversation. They could also use a win and defend their home turf. It's Louisiana-Houston. That happens on Sunday early evening. Let's talk about Monday. Let's each give a reason why we think that Florida and Minnesota is a must-view game for all members of the SFL community.
Easy, and I'm gonna pick my home state. Let's talk about Minnesota just a little bit. And the one reason why I think that they're gonna win is Northwood Stadium. It is tough to play at Northwoods in St. Paul, Minnesota. They have a very good track record when playing at home, and they, just like Florida, both teams will play with really good defense, are going to keep the offenses on their toes, and they're really going to, just kind of like Baltimore did tonight, they're going to try and dictate the other's offense. So which other team does that best will come out with the victory. I think the X factor for Minnesota is, again, their home turf.
This game has a chance to put the spectacular in the Monday Night Spectacular, no doubt about that. It's going to be a good one, it looks like, and they are inside Northwood Stadium, as you mentioned. Florida is a team that had a two-loss streak going a couple weeks ago, and has since turned it around and shown what championship teams do, and that's bounce back. This is a team that is won 2 titles in the SFL 4K23 era. And if you take a look at this team, you see other teams that are in the top echelon, your Cantons, your Arizonas, your Minnesotas per se, your Baltimores, Mexico City also. but you can't knock them off the pedestal until you beat them when it matters. And this is a team that has a chance still to pull off a couple of real nice weeks coming up and get themselves into the top 2 conversation. Let's see if they can do that. Ron Cochran is a wily veteran. He will be a gamer, no doubt about that, as will the rest of this Florida Storm squad. So very good stuff coming for the Monday Night Spectacular next week. We cap off and put a bow on this game in DC. Baltimore comes out with the win 34-9 at Dungeon of Drakkara's Coliseum, and that was a wrap on week number 13. For Tyler Falk, the rest of our Monday Night Spectacular crew, I'm Chris Curtis saying goodbye and good night. We will see you Friday for the dual pack of games. And until then, have a good week.